Welcome to Conversations Different, a podcast from the Santa Fe New Mexican about the interesting people, places, and issues of northern New Mexico. This is Inez Russell Gomez, and today we are talking to Dr. Robert Martin, the outgoing president of the Institute of American Indian Arts. Welcome, Dr. Martin.
Thank you, Inez. It's an honor for me to be on your podcast, especially in my last month as being president of the Institute of American Indian Arts.
You've had quite a run at
18,
IAIA.
18 years, and
Yeah.
it's gone by quickly, but I think I'm proud of the success that we've had, but there's so much more that needs to be done. So I know the next president will take the institution to the next level.
That's a really wonderful feeling to know that you came to a place that had a great tradition and legacy, improved upon it, and are leaving it in really great shape for whoever follows you.
Yeah, one of the priorities was to build out of the campus and to increase enrollment and to add additional programs. And we've expanded our mission with the graduate programs. And so I'm really proud of what we've accomplished, but we've had a lot of support. The board, the faculty, staff, our students, and of course, community support has really made a big difference.
Yeah, I think for everybody in Santa Fe or, who's listening, who hasn't been to IAI, it's really an incredible facility. It's just a gorgeous campus.
Yeah, I invite everybody to come out. We're located at 83 Avenue Road, and we have a beautiful campus with beautiful views of the mountains, and I enjoy coming to work every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I do a lot of my holiday shopping at the craft fair in December, and I know a lot of people love going to the different powwows, and just there's a lot of public events there that maybe you're not, folks aren't aware of that they should take advantage of.
Yes, and they can go to our website at iaia.edu, and we have a up-to-date schedule of events that are occurring on campus. And I know we're having a residency from Cultural Administration, and then next week is our program MFA in Creative Writing residency, and they'll be reading all week. And so that's always a time when we have a lot of people visiting our campus for those readings.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, when you talk about the blossoming of IAI, it's always been known as, obviously it's the Institute of American Indian Arts. So we had, sculpture, painting, beadwork, all of the different, jewelry, all of those things. But with the creation of the MFA in writing, you've really had an explosion of another kind.
We have, and it's been called the Renaissance in Indigenous creative writing. We've graduated more than 225 students since the program was launched in 2013. It's really had an impact, not only in literature and poetry, but also in screenwriting. And it's been a great program. And of course, Tommy Orange and some of the other writers that have come through, and they've been very successful.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And I think the thing that the screenwriting and the literature have in common is the fact that Native people are telling their own stories, whether it's, through film or through print. And it's really just this incredible time to be alive to see this happening.
It is. And just a few years ago, that wasn't the case. But whether it's television or the film or in literature, our voices are finally being represented in those media.
No, that's true. I know as a family, when we were watching Res Dogs, when it was on a few years ago, or I guess just a year or so ago, it just the circumstances, if you've ever been, on a reservation or gone to Indian Health or any of those kinds of things, it just was universal, but also really specific to different people's lives, I think.
Definitely. And it was authentic. And you got the feeling that, whether it was that boarding school issue or out at the IHS Indian Health Service Hospital, that it was authentic and real and could relate to the experience of Indigenous people today.
Yeah. I admire Zahn McLaren as an actor because he's a cop in Dark Winds and a cop in Res Dogs, and he's such a different person in both of them. Is that I don't know how many people could, wear the uniform and be completely transformed based on the script and his acting prowess.
I know, and he says comedy is more challenging than the dramatic parts for him. But he's
Yeah.
not only is he a really talented actor, but when he comes to our events and he doesn't mind posing for photos with students, faculty, and staff, and our supporters that ask for that. He really spends his time with us, and we appreciate that.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. You always hope that the person you see and that you like on screen is also nice in real life, and it's always good when that's the case.
He
Yeah,
definitely is.
yeah. So you've had a long career in education. How does it feel to be almost on the other end?
Well, in some ways, it's I've really enjoyed my work for one thing, and there's always been challenges, but I've learned so much, and I always uh, felt was in a good place in terms of opportunities to make a difference. And so that's what I've been able to do at every one of the four tribal colleges and universities that I've been fortunate to have served as the president. We've been able to move the institution forward, make changes, and increase opportunities for Indigenous students and the communities from where they come. And so that's it's been very, I think, enjoyable for me and a sense of accomplishment that I felt. But I've had a lot of opportunities, and I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss it a lot. But it's time to give somebody else the opportunity to come in here and make a real difference and have some fresh perspectives and ideas on programming and how to best serve our students. And so I'm looking forward to seeing who the board of trustees selects as the next president. They're in that process now, and I think they've narrowed it down to a number of individuals, and hopefully they'll be announcing a selection very soon.
That's right. And there's going to be a nice send off for you at like we're taping this at the beginning of July, but around July 18th, something like that, there's a goodbye kind of thing.
Yes, we're having a party at our museum off of the plaza, and hopefully you
Mhm.
can join us, Inez and Ernesto. We invite you both to be with us, and uh, just we're going to have a band. Adrian Wall, one of our alums,
All
he
right.
has a band. He's going to be playing, and so it's a party. That's what it
Yep.
is. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. I'm actually wearing his earrings. That's kind of funny.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll tell
He's
him
like
that.
many. Yes. Yeah. He is a great jewelry maker and a sculptor and a musician. I always like seeing his posts about the different kinds of art that he's making.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had his associate degree, came back for a BFA, and of course, his whole family. Kathleen Wall is his sister. She just recently completed her third degree here at MFA in Studio Arts.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow. That's that's a very talented family.
It,
And it's
it
really,
is.
I think about your school and you think about all the people who have come out of there, whether as artists or as writers, and it's just like a who's who of the native world.
Yeah, wherever you go, and there's whether it's film or studio arts exhibition, whatever it might be, and if it's contemporary Native art, there's going to be some connection to the Institute of American Indian Arts. Of course, a few years ago, the first Indigenous poet laureate of the United States, of course, was Joy Harjo, one of our alums. Uh, and of course, Rose Simpson, one of our more recent graduates, continues to make her mark in contemporary Indigenous art and across the world. And so we're really proud of our alums, and uh, and I've enjoyed meeting them, getting to know them, understanding their creative process, and then to see our students come as freshmen and in their first year and see the progress that they make in their creativity and innovation in terms of their arts practice.
Right. What I think is so fascinating is that it's a place where so many different types of people are welcome. And for Santa Fe, it enriches us because so many of the graduates end up staying here, even if they're from Montana or Alaska or someplace else.
There's a lot of opportunity here with the galleries and
Hmm.
museums that we have here. We couldn't been more fortunate in the placement of the Institute of American Indian Arts here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And so, yes, a lot of our graduates remain here and they contribute to the economy. And of course, Indian Market is coming up in August, and a lot of the vendors there will be our alums.
That's right. And for people who haven't been to market, one of the fun places to do is to go to Machna and to see the Institute of American Indian Arts graduates and students show that they
Yes,
have right in front. So there's always little places to find graduates working and to purchase some of their art.
and yes, they're out
Yep.
in our Pertel out front. And then, of course, inside we'll have programming exhibitions that
Right.
are being installed, will be installed this summer and be opening during Indian Market Week. And we have programming in the courtyard, a number of exciting panels. And it's time to take a break to learn. You can sit down and listen to a nice presentation about art, contemporary indigenous art, and then continue to enjoy the Indian Market as well.
That's right. It's nice and shady. We'll be back in a moment with more Conversations Different and Dr. Robert Martin of the Institute of American Indian Arts.
We make renewable doable. We're positive energy solar for a cleaner, brighter future for all. Positive energy's the right call. Feel good about your energy bill. Help save the planet too. Your trusted solar company, working hard for you. Generate positive energy. Positive energy solar.
We are back with Conversations Different. And in the first segment, we talked a lot about Dr. Martin's career and the success of the Institute of American Indian Arts. But I think it's time to kind of get at the breaking news of the day and the fact that tribal colleges, including IAIA, are threatened under the current administration's budget. Talk about what's happening in terms of federal funding and what could happen, Dr.
Well,
Martin.
we were surprised, but we expected something like this could occur since April. And they have the president's budget. It's just a proposal, but it has eliminated funding for the Institute of American Indian Arts, as well as all of the other tribal colleges and universities that are federally funded. And so we've
No more, period.
eliminated, yes,
Yes.
no
Yes.
funding whatsoever, zeroed out.
Okay.
And so we've, when we first, we did his budget, President Trump's budget wasn't released until somewhere around June the 2nd, just a few weeks ago. And usually it's much earlier, February, March, April at the latest. And so they waited until the last minute to make this proposed budget public. And of course, it's just a proposal. In fact, Tom Cole, who is the chair of the Appropriations Committee in the House, he has a saying that he says, the president proposes, Congress disposes. In other words, it's just a proposal. They are the ones that enact the budget. And so they're in that process now of marking up their department's bills, and including Interior. And that is a process that can take usually weeks and sometimes months, and they've tried to expedite it. But what has slowed everything down is the reconciliation bill that apparently the Senate has approved, and now it goes back to the House. But they won't be marking up their individual department bills, appropriations bills, until that process is complete.
Okay.
And so that's given us time to reach out to our congressional delegation and the Interior Appropriations staff in both the Senate and the House. And they've all indicated their support, of course, being led by our own congressional delegation, which we really appreciate. And I recently had a telephone conversation with Chairman Tom Cole, who's a member of the Chickasaw Nation, and he's chair of the Appropriations Committee in the House. And he assured me that they would be supporting our funding. And we don't know at what level, but we're asking for current level funding and we haven't had an increase in 3 years, and we think that's reasonable. But we're prepared for whatever happens. But we're confident that we're going to be able to remain opened, and we're going to have the support that we need to continue to operate. We can't just throw away 63 years of history and having an impact on contemporary Indigenous art. We're the birthplace of contemporary Native art, and our mission to empower creativity and leadership in Native arts and cultures has really made a difference. And what we talked about earlier in the program is wherever you go, there's, we've had an influence, and we've seen our alums being successful in their communities, and we want to continue that excellence. And we're training the next generation of Indigenous artists and creatives, and we want to continue to do that. And we think we have the support not only here in Santa Fe, but with the nation, and especially with our congressional delegation and Congress, to make sure we have the support and federal funding that we've been receiving. It's been 40 years, and we've always been funded since we've been chartered by Congress, and we have our own legislation. We're an independent agency, and just to zero us out without even giving us a reason, we don't quite understand that. And so we're doing whatever we can to make sure that our funding is continued, that Congress understands how important this institution is, and we're optimistic about our future.
Do you think that a lot of members of Congress don't understand what it means to be a congressionally chartered school, and you have to do some education a little bit to get them up to speed with that you exist and that this funding was kind of promised in the establishment of the institution?
It was. That's why we exist. Our ancestors sacrificed over 1 billion acres, of land to the federal government, and in return, we're promised access to education. And that's why the tribal colleges and universities, along with the Institute of American Indian Arts, that's why we exist. So it's not a DEI program or anything. It's because of the trust responsibility that the federal government has through treaty obligations, promises made some time ago, but there was no end date. So that's why we here and we exist. And I think Congress understands that. We've always had bipartisan support, and we think that's going to occur this year as well. Now, it's different for the administration. I mean, they're just being, without any plan or strategy. They're just trying to cut programs, and the fact that Indian and arts and cultures is all part of our mission and our title of our legislation. That makes us, the flag go up, a red flag for this administration, and all the tribal colleges and universities have been targeted. But what's ironic is that President Trump is supporting this historically Black institutions such as Howard University. They're receiving $144 million. Ours is only $13.5 million. So that's what Tom Cole told me when we had our phone conversation, that we're not going to balance the federal budget on the backs of IAIA. It's just not there. But again, he said, you're going to have the support, you're going to get the funding that you need. And so we're very optimistic, but at the same time, we know that we can't relax, and we've got to continue to advocate for the importance of this institution with Congress.
So what can individuals do? Now, obviously, our delegation is fighting very hard to reinstate the funding, but let's say you're a Santa Fe person, but you have roots in Oklahoma or in Montana. Could you maybe call those senators or get your relatives, send postcards? What should people be doing who want to make sure that this college remains active and thriving?
I think they could, just a quick phone call. If they're here in New Mexico, to the Mexico congressional delegation. If they're in Oklahoma or Montana or the Dakotas, the same there. Just call your congressional delegation and express support for funding for the Institute of American Indian Arts and how valuable this institution is to the country. and to their communities. So that's the first thing that they can do. And that's going to be very important going forward. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a markup and we'll know that we're going to be in the budget for sure and at what level. But beyond that, they could also go to our website at iaia.edu, and we have other ways to help. We don't participate in the federal loan program, so we're always raising funds for scholarships.
Okay.
And August the 13th, we'll have our gala, and we'll be asking people to support that. And we may have to expand, depending on what happens in Washington and with the political uncertainty, to actually take a look at funding operations or endowing positions. I think we just can't depend on the federal government always. And I think that's what Indigenous communities are realizing throughout Indian country, is that we've got to look at other places rather than just exclusively the federal government. But they have an obligation, and we're not going to let them off the hook on that one. But we also need to take a look at it. And we've always done that. Part of when we received the passback from the Office of Management and Budgets, is where we have our own line item. They tell us that we're expected to raise private sector funds to support the institution going forward. And that's exactly what we've done. We've increased the private sector support. We have a very active and supportive foundation, the IAIA Foundation, and Michael Pettit's the chair of that. He's doing a great job for us. All of them are. And so that all makes a difference for us. And it's great to have people reaching out to us and saying, we support you and we're going to do what we can to help.
Oh, that gives me some encouragement. And on that note, we'll take a quick break and be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
This is Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. Looking to reach a wider audience and grow your business? For 175 years, the Santa Fe New Mexican has been the trusted voice of Santa Fe, with unmatched local reach in print and online. In addition to our long-standing, independent, family-owned newspaper, we have a full-fledged marketing team with the expertise to help you succeed in the 21st century. From traditional print to precision-targeted digital advertising, we have the tools to connect you with your ideal customers. Partner with us and see the results for yourself. Advertise with the Santa Fe New Mexican and unlock your business's full potential. Visit us at santafenewmexican.com/advertising or call us at 505-995-3852. Thank you.
We're back with Conversations Different, discussing the funding challenges going on right now for tribal colleges. One of the things that people probably don't know is that there are several tribal colleges across the country. And we were talking before we went on air about your beginning of the career. And I guess you said you had a funding fight then too.
I did. I was president of the Southwestern Indian Polytechnic Institute when it was proposed for closure. Well, it was announced about a day after I arrived as the interim president. And the next day, Congressman Manny Lujan came to visit. And so I was giving him a tour. And one of my staff said that Bob Martin doesn't even know where the bathrooms are, and he's giving a congressman a tour. And so I learned a lot about how the government works and what the different students and faculty and staff, the communities, we called upon the business community to come out and support. And so we were successful for 2 years to keep it open. And now it's thriving in Albuquerque. And they didn't have the community support and the beautiful campus that we have. So we have so many more assets that, and I know that we're going to be successful in not only getting through this challenge, but flourishing in the future. So I know the future is very bright for IAIA.
Have you had any worries from students, like maybe I shouldn't go there because it might disappear, anything like that? Or is everyone just saying, well, this is happening, but we're going to fight it and keep going?
Well, that's what we keep saying, but I think it creates stress for people, not only our students, but faculty, staff, Yeah, we've heard from parents. Should our daughter attend IAIA? She just graduated from high school. Should she change her plans? And we say no. We're going to be open. Same thing with faculty and staff. And I've had a number of town hall meetings. In fact, I have one scheduled in the near future, and it's just to assure them that things are going to be okay and we're going to be successful in getting our funding restored. And it's natural, and I know I've gone through this before. You have to keep, making sure that communication is continues and on a regular basis. And our website, we posted things, and now we'll have another town hall meeting, and whatever it takes to assure our faculty, staff, and students that we're going to be here in the fall. We're making plans. We're accepting students, and but we have to keep reiterating that to them. And already, coming out of the pandemic, and even our indigenous communities have always suffered from anxiety and stress and historical trauma, all of those things. And then you add something like this. This is just another stressor that we have to deal with.
It almost seems cruel to do that to people because, I have a neighbor who's getting his MFA there. And what if he can't finish? One of my Oklahoma friends, her daughter will be a sophomore. She's probably looking forward to coming back to school, but probably wondering what's it going to be like when I'm back there if there's no money. And why do people have to be that stressed? It should be, pretty normal that you go to college, it gets funded, and you keep going to college.
Exactly. And that's the sad thing about this proposal. And we keep saying it's a proposal, but people hear, the elimination of our funding, we're zeroed out. And I can assure them every day that it's not going to happen. I'm confident, but still there's that level of the unknown, the uncertainty, and that's what creates the stress and anxiety. And already as a college student, it's a stressful situation, being away from home and focusing on your studies and maybe concerned about your finances. And so that's why scholarships are so important. And we want our students to graduate debt-free, and
Yes.
we're always fundraising for scholarships.
Yeah. And IA is a beautiful campus, but if you get hungry at 10 o'clock at night and you live in the dorm, there's not many places to go get groceries or to, get a snack. So it's one of those places where you have to plan ahead if you're going to have food at, 11 o'clock or something.
Right. Well, and I've heard that from students. So we're planning to open up a snack bar in the evening for our students. And
Oh, nice.
it's good. Some of my staff had said, can we really afford that? Because we're going to have to renovate the space, but it's providing a service to our students. And I've heard it for a number of years. And so we're going to do what we can to make our students comfortable and successful here.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the, I don't know if it's a secret, but one of the best aspects of IAI is you've got incredible food service. And you
We do.
grow some of the food yourself, don't you?
We do. And,
Yep.
and Farm to Table is, Bon Appetit is our food vendor contractor. And when I first came here and I was facilitating some of the planning sessions, when I met with students and alums, the number one complaint I heard was about the food. And so we were able to, when we added this new building and where the cafe was going to be located, we had fresh food. And because I used to go before to the cafe, and some of the students would say, what is that? I'm not going to eat anything that I don't recognize. But it's different now. We have fresh food, no deep fryer vat, salad bar is always there. And we have vegetarian options as well. So I invite the community to come and visit our cafe. I think they will enjoy it. And it's a bargain.
Yeah, no, that's what I've heard, and I've eaten there a couple of times for different things, and it's just excellent. And that's part of kind of the whole Indigenous story. If you're reaching for education, you also want to be healthy, and the way to be healthy is to have good food. And you guys have a gym and a workout place and programs.
Exactly. And some of our alums, what we were doing with our campus facilities master plan, we were trying to determine the priority of new buildings because we needed both a performing arts building and a gymnasium and with a workout room. And so what came out on top was the gymnasium and workout room. Some of the students, alums came to me and complained about that and said, we need performing arts. So, we're an art school, but we're also offering a holistic education. But what we did, we combined the two. We have a performing arts and fitness center. And so we were able to do that. But we've tried to listen to our stakeholders, whether it be faculty, staff, students, alums, the community here, about how we can improve our services and programs for our students. And all of that contributes to student success.
Right. And there's some different programs for people. Let's say I'm an artist and I got my visual arts degree or studio arts or whatever, but I'm not very good at paying my gross receipts taxes. There's a way at IAIA to teach you how to run the business of art as well, isn't there?
Yeah, we have a business and entrepreneurship certificate program that can be exclusively online. And so that's been a popular program. We heard that when I heard that when I first came and we were doing the strategic planning, was that we have the art and creativity for that. What we need is the business sense, the developing a business plan, a marketing plan, those kinds of skills. And so we've offered that program and it's been very successful. And we have a number of students that will graduate with that certificate as well as their degree in studio arts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that I think the college really got smart about in the last decade or so is finding different ways to serve populations. And that way I can take college from home, I can go to the campus, and you've been able to not just increase your enrollment, but really, I think, increase your impact.
Definitely. And yeah, we've tried to, through the certificate programs, BFA programs that we've added, such as performing arts, and then the graduate programs that we've talked about earlier. We've tried to address the needs of not only our community of students here, but back at home in their home communities, and that's important too. And so we've increased our online course offerings, and we have a continuing education program where students can take, for a weekend, they can take a poetry class or marketing class as well, can be a short term, and that's been very popular as well.
That's I think wonderful thing about today with technology and smart planning is just all the ways colleges can impact people's lives, whether you're a young student or an older person trying to learn some things to make yourself more marketable or just to learn,
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have really done it. So as you reflect on your career, obviously you probably didn't want to spend your last month as the president of a college, fighting almost for its existence. But what are you taking with you after this, success of a life in education?
Well, I've really been blessed. It's been a real gift for me to have the opportunity to serve as a president of 4 tribal colleges and universities. But the fact is, I've learned so much. In fact, I'm still learning today, and I always think I could be a better president. And there's so much to do, and so I think when I reflect on my career and what I'd like to be able to do is write a book about my experiences and what I've learned, and hopefully convey that to the next generation of leaders and scholars and everything. But it's been a real joy for me, and I feel like I'm been so lucky to have the career that I've had.
Yeah. Well, that is a wonderful note on which to close, and we appreciate your time, and I wish you a happy next adventure. I doubt you're going to be retired. You seem too energetic to sit home and
I've tried retirement a couple of times. It didn't last, but this time it might. But I'm going to do some things I want to do. But thank you, Inez, for being with you today.
Oh, thank you. This has been another Conversations Different, and we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening to Conversations Different, hosted by me, Inez Russell Gomez, editorial page editor for the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our weekly episodes would not be possible without your support. We hope you enjoy them and keep listening. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Consider signing up for our newsletter so you never miss an episode, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our podcast is available by visiting our website, santafenewmexican.com/podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Conversations Different with Inez Russell Gomez is produced by Matt Dalside and Ernesto Cisneros, published by the Santa Fe New Mexican, a local and independent newspaper owned by Robin Martin.